everybody, I'm Angelina, Mrs. Madden, and I am one of medical assistant instructors. I teach the 11th and 12th grade medical assistant. Here I have with me
Mrs. Aruja.
Mrs. Aruja is going to be my patient today because today we are going to be talking about EKG or ECG, also known as an electrocardiogram. So, let me first start by talking about the machine that we're going to use for this procedure. This is a type of EKG machine. They look different depending on which type the office has with them. But this is a machine that is going to help show the physician the electrical activity of the heart. Believe it or not, we do have electricity running through our body. And it is the reason why our muscles move, including our heart muscle. So with each EKG machine, you're going to have the machine component itself, all the functions to run it. Additionally, you're going to have your power supply cord because it needs to be plugged in. And you're going to have these. It looks like spaghetti, but they're called leads, okay? Some of these leads are longer because they have to reach all the way down to the patient's foot, which we'll talk about when we talk about our friend here, Mr. Skeleton. The shorter leads are here because they just need to get placed onto the chest, okay? These leads allow us to get the reading for the electrical activity throughout the heart. Additionally, you will have electrodes. This is what a sheet of them looks like. They are literally little stickers that go onto your body. So putting these all together, we have our machine, our electrodes, and we have our leads. This here would be an example of how we place them. So, in order for a physician to get an EKG, the type that we do, which is called a 12-lead EKG in a medical office, they are going to place the electrodes on the body. You have 6 across your chest, and you have both limbs, well, upper limbs and both bottom limbs that they're going to be placed on. And the placement is really for how it's going to read and the kind of pictures it's going to give the doctor or whoever's doing the EKG, or like a cardiologist. Once they're placed, and my patient, Mrs. Aruja, lying down for this. You would typically have your patient be undressed from the top up, have access to their legs and their arms for placement. Once we got our stickers on, electrodes, we start to place these leads and connect them to them. So you have the ones I said for the chest, that'll get attached. And just for an example, they're labeled. This says V4 because we have very specific placements that we have to place them. This would go on V4. 1, 2, 3. This would be 4. We take our clamp and we stick it just like that to that blue piece. Now, some maintenance issues with these, you have to make sure that your leads are clean because you want a good connection onto that. Once we place all of our leads in place, and again, your patient would be lying down for this, then we would run our machine. Let me move this out of the way. We will remind our patient to please remain still for the procedure. Any movement can actually alter how the readings will print out for the physician, and we call those artifacts. Artifact sounds like a fancy word. It's just a way of saying that the reading or what's projected on the paper is not actually part of what's going on with the electrical activity of the heart. So we troubleshoot and get rid of those issues. So at any rate, your patient would be lying back. Okay, so just a little recap as to where we are now. We greeted our patient. We explained to them what was going to happen. We checked our machine. We went over what the leads are. We went over what the electrodes are. We went over how to place them on there. Now it's time to actually start the process. And remember, our patient in real life would be undressed, okay? Once our patient's hooked up, we're simply gonna turn our machine on and run it. I'm gonna show you what the EKG paper looks like. And it's graph paper, okay? This graph paper is specially designed paper so that it can be used universally around the world when doing EKGs, okay? You can also set it to make sure that it's printing in the universal function because this graph paper, the physician is going to read the EKG based on the spacing that each mark on it makes for this patient. Now, EKGs can detect previous heart attacks. They can also tell a physician other heart problems that the patient may be having at this time. Once we get our printout from the EKG and we're done with our procedure, we're going to check in on our patient, let them know that we're done. Okay, Mrs. Arujo, your EKG is done. I'm going to leave the room so that you'll have time to get dressed, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. If they need to be assisted to a sitting position, we can assist them in doing that. So I've left the room and I allowed my patient to get dressed. I've gone and I've handed the EKG to the physician for reading. Physician's gonna go in and talk to this patient about the results. That's part of being a medical assistant. We've completed our task and now I'm gonna simply move on and do something else for the next patient.